Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparring Sessions. This will be the first time in a while that we're talking about the sport of boxing, in particular, Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Casimiro, the Filipino flat-footed fighter who repeatedly leads with a power left hook into a right uppercut to the body. Um, and he would miss this power left hook every single time that he led with it, yet repeatedly would throw the same thing over and over again, and somehow got a wide decision in his favor last night. This just explains the sport of boxing. It's a microcosm of what is wrong with the sport of boxing. Oh my, fryers in the background. Son of a... Now, partially what's wrong with boxing is the lack of education and investment that the fans have in an entire subset of the sport, which is this style where you stick and move and counterpunch. There's very little appreciation for counterpunching in this sport, and I think it's largely because the promoters don't understand this sport, much less try to market the skill. They don't understand boxing as a martial art. They understand violence. So if we were to compare this to another sport, imagine that all the owners in Major League Baseball were committed to promoting the home run exclusively against all else. Like, how do we make money, guys? Like, not in explaining the skill of pitching, but in getting as many home runs as possible. So we're gonna, disadvantage pitchers as much as possible and pay them less so that, fewer people are pitchers. And we'll have our announce team talk crap about the pitchers when they're doing a good job. If there's a no-hitter, that's the worst possible thing possible. It's the worst outcome, and we're gonna lose money. So talk shit about every great pitcher. That's effectively what we have. We have an entire subset of the skill of the sport that is not being articulated or explained to the audience. So the audience has no clue what Rigondeaux is doing, and the announcers make no effort to explain what he's doing, even though it's masterful. It's absolutely masterful what Rigondeaux is pulling off. And Casimiro looks like an amateur compared to Rigondeaux. There's such a mismatch of skill level going on, and the announcers are completely incapable of explaining it. They just call him boring. I don't want to watch your fucking broadcast, Showtime. It's boring to listen to you talk shit about a guy who's so damn good. He's so good, and you can't even explain it. You're a failure, and you represent the promoter. Okay, so the man you work for has told you what to say. If he's worth a salt, if he's worth his salt as a promoter, he's told you what you need to say, what you need to focus on, what you need to articulate. And it sounds like they're giving him cues. They're like, okay, well, what he needs to do is stand in the middle and exchange blows like he's a rock'em sock'em robot, like he's a bum in a street brawl. Like, why don't these promoters, why don't they just go pay homeless people to just beat the shit out of each other? Because that seems to be what they want. They want humans being torn apart by lions. It's all back to the Roman gladiators. They sell violence. They understand violence. They don't understand the sport or the artistry of boxing. And so guys like Rigondeaux, Billy Joe Sanders, promoters just talk shit about him. And so me, as a fan who actually appreciates the skill involved in this sport, like, I have no reason to tune in. Like, you guys are idiots. You don't understand your own sport, and you can't articulate techniques. And I will show you how. I will show you how to articulate these techniques that Rigondeaux was employing extremely effectively and embarrassing Casimiro. He embarrassed him. He outclassed him. It was a no contest. It was a shutout. Okay, I'll show you. What Rigondeaux is a master of is the feint, shoulder feint, and then he anticipates the same shot that Casimiro throws over and over again, which is a lead left hook. So he feints, level changes, and then pivots out of the way, over and over again. And you could call that boring, but it's an effective technique. Casimiro is wasting his energy, getting out of position, and throwing this big left hook. He's loading up, he's coming in, and then he misses, falls into the ropes, literally, without being touched, falls into the ropes. Tell me that's not masterful. Tell me that's not an effective technique. Who won that exchange? I didn't even have to throw a punch.
This man's off balance. I didn't even touch him. Tell me that's not a mastery of martial arts. Tell me it's not. And if Floyd Mayweather does it, they would talk shit about him too. The difference is Floyd Mayweather can talk. Floyd Mayweather markets himself. People hate Floyd, and so they want to see him get knocked out, and he doesn't let him have it. You know, it's that desire for violence that needs to be played into. But these promoters can't do it for Rigondeaux. These promoters don't know how to do it for Rigondeaux. Make the people hate him then. Make him a bad guy. Make him a good guy. Just make them care. Explain what he does. Explain what Casemiro wants to do, and why he's failing. Why can't Casemiro get the bead on Rigondeaux? Why can't he get the bead on Rigondeaux? And why is Rigondeaux able to feint, move, and then stick him with the left hand? Why is one guy able to land their shots and the other guy isn't? And Casemiro, he's loading up on his left hook, and then he comes with a right uppercut to the body. The right uppercut to the body was the only effective punch that Casemiro was landing, that was consistently touching Rigondeaux with, anyways. And is that boring? Yeah, if I don't know what's going on, it's pretty damn boring. There's not a lot of violence going on. Is there action? Like you say, oh, there's not a lot of action here. As they're repositioning themselves. Like martial arts is about positioning. You're in a ring, you're in a field that's like a battle, the field of battle, and you're repositioning your weight to attack your opponent. And so the one criticism of Rigondeaux that I would have, if I were his coach, I would tell him that once he gets his man out of position, attack him. If he misses that big left hook, falls into the ropes, attack him. He can't punch you back. The only thing he can do, he misses this huge left hook, is turn and throw a right hand. Okay, so the first time, if I'm Rigondeaux, or if I'm his coach, I'm telling him, attack him with your left. Once he misses that left hook, he's in the ropes, boom, sting him with the left, get out. Next time he does that, if he's not smart enough to change up his style, which he wasn't, Casemiro has the same approach over and over again, and the judges award him the fight. They say he won when he couldn't mix up his punches? Are you kidding me? Couldn't mix up his approaches, kept missing over and over again? That's a joke. That's a joke. But okay, so the first time, you sting him, boom. Now look for the right hand. Next time, feint. Whoop! You make him miss the left hand, he's off balance, come in, feint the left hand. And then he'll throw a right, and then you sting him. That's the counter shot. That's what Rigondeaux's a master of. But the announcers don't even attempt to explain this game that's going on. With feints, with setups. One thing about Casemiro, he doesn't feint at all. He doesn't feint at all. He's being read like a book. Every time he just wades in, he plods in, heavy on his front foot, and then throws that lead left. It's so predictable, and it's low level. It's not skillful at all. And that's who they reward. Like, I mean, the whole scheme, I guess, the whole business is rewarding guys like Casemiro who don't fight intelligently, So for someone like me, I mean, is there anything in that for me? Am I going to get any enjoyment? I could go watch, people fight at a bar if I wanted to and get more enjoyment. And I could understand the violence just as well as these announcers pretend to understand it. But they don't. They don't understand the sport or can't articulate it. Like, I'm sure Abner Mares, he does understand what's going on very well, but he doesn't articulate the exchange that's happening even when punches aren't being thrown. Okay, so I mean, yeah, there's just not much that promoters these days are contributing to their fighters. I will say that, especially if you're a Billy Joe Saunders, especially if you're a mover like Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, these promoters contribute nothing. They contribute nothing. And Rigondeaux, he just doesn't have a fan base. He doesn't have a fan base because they're all under a communist dictatorship. They're not allowed to come here and support him. So there's no mystique like that McGregor mystique. Oh, the Irishman, the Irish people love their fighter. He's a national epic unto himself. And you could feel it in an arena. You could touch it. You could cut it with a knife. The electricity, like butter, in the arena because all his fans were there and they love him. And then there are people there who hate his guts. That's what makes a great fight, and half of it's missing. So how do you replace that is the question as the promoter, but they make no attempt to. Like make some fans by explaining what he does. What technique is he employing against Casemiro's techniques, and why is Casemiro ending up on the ropes and off balance? At the very least, if I'm Rigondeaux's coach, I'm telling him to attack when his opponent is extended. When his opponent is out of position to punch, which he's getting him out of position, then attack. And then, the judges would have an easier time deciphering the action, I guess, because I guess judges aren't very intelligent, just like the announcers, just like the fans. Like most of the fans are not intelligent. The promoters don't care. The promoters make no effort to educate their audience. That's their job. Two things, or, there's various ways to get audiences invested in a fighter. You sell their character, their personality, their story, their narrative, which is going to clash with another narrative. Okay, another story. Like what you're doing is you're telling a story. If this guy's a master boxer who escaped, totalitarianism, then you have to tell his skills. And it's a little bit tougher to tell the story of, some Cuban refugee who wanted to fight the best. It's rather interesting though. And they can promote this guy. This guy's probably the most talented fighter of his generation. He's probably the most talented fighter of his generation, and he has a great story. And they can't promote him. Why? Why? Ask yourself that. Because they don't understand the sport. So, I mean, if they want to, ask, well, why is boxing dead? Why is boxing dead? Because no one's articulating what the sport is. Like, if all it is mindless violence, I don't need to pay anyone to see that. I don't need to pay anyone to see mindless violence. I could just walk outside, in some neighborhoods anyways, go to a bar on weekends. I'll probably see like a little scrap. If that's all I'm there for. If I appreciate martial arts, I need more than just, the knockout, the home run. I need the setups. What they should have done in this promotion is compared this fight to Billy Joe versus Canelo. What did Canelo do differently that allowed him to catch Billy Joe? And he set a trap for him. If a guy's a moving target, predict how he moves. How do you do that? You don't just throw the same punch over and over again as your lead shot. You feint. Or you throw a different shot. And then you see when you give a guy certain looks, how does he react? Rigondeaux is moving his head. So you give him a look, you give him your jab, and you see what head movement. Where is he putting his head? And Canelo, he would set up Billy Joe. He'd set up Billy Joe. Here comes the left hook. Oh, that uppercut damages him because he tried to duck the hook, went right into the uppercut. That's mastery, folks. That's mastery. That's how you beat a guy who's running away, quote unquote. Oh, he's running. No, he's dodging. He's dodging and moving and pivoting. There's a lot going on that you're not explaining as announcers. If you sit there and call someone boring at Rigondeaux's level, you're a disgrace to the sport. Like you're doing the sport a disservice. You're doing the martial art a disservice because you don't understand it. You're embarrassing. Like the biggest problem with boxing is that I'm embarrassed to be a fan. Like I understand the sport and I'm embarrassed very often of the people who promote it, honestly. Is it a dirty game? Yeah, it's a bit of a dirty game. We could say that as well. So guys like Teddy Atlas, they're embarrassed too. The people that love it the most understand its problems. And this is the biggest one. The biggest one is that the people in charge are selling mindless violence, not the sport itself. So good luck competing with the UFC, okay? Because there's a lot of mindless violence going on there. And if you can't articulate what makes your sport different, just like you can't articulate the fighters, what makes the fighters different from each other in their styles, you have no chance of selling your product.